Hi everyone, Vacha here from Recording Studio 9 and thanks for joining me again today. Today's video comes from a question from one of my subscribers and client as well, Goran from Sweden, and the question is about Studio One. And in Studio One, where we have audio clips, there are several options available for us. So if you have multiple clips on your track, there is a way where you can group them together using merge or bounce. So I'm going to demonstrate what the differences are. There are also two other functions where there is render and transform. So we're going to look at those in another video. But in today's video, we're going to look at merging event clips and bouncing and what the differences are. So here I have a project. Let me close that. And I'm going to look at this because this track here, I've got multiple clips. Now, if I want to actually move these clips and duplicate them or whatever reason, let's say if I want to duplicate it, it makes it really hard to keep dragging and moving them along when we are duplicating audio clips within a track or even between tracks. One way to actually do that, make it easier, is we can left click, select and highlight all the clips. And then we can right click and select merge events. If you don't find it in your recent items, you can also select it under event and merge event. Or you can use the shortcut G. So let's see what this does. As you saw, now all the clips are together as one, so I can drag and move all together without a problem. Okay, so what does this actually do? To actually look into a bit more detail of this, we can click the Edit button and go into Edit mode. Now, what we're looking at here, let me just resize that, is this clip here. So if I move it, let's say maybe a couple of bars, so all the clips at the bottom move as well. But you might notice something different here because the clips in the edit window, they are still separate, even though on the main timeline, they look together as one. So the advantages of merging is that we still have the original clips. They're just bound and merged together. So let's say if I want to do some clip gaining here, I can still select in the edit window one of the clips and adjust its gain. And as you can see, as I adjust the bottom in the edit window, on the main timeline, it also changes value. So let's say if I want to increase the gain or decrease, that makes the difference as well. Or if I drag it and move it, it also moves in the main timeline. But still, I can drag the merged clip in the main timeline and they all move together as one. So that's basically what merge does. It merges all the clips together as one so you can move them around, but still gives you the ability to work on individual clips, whether you clip gaining it or whether you're moving them or anything else that you like to apply on that clip individually without affecting the rest of the clips in that merge event. The next option we're going to look at is bounce. And bounce to a new track as well. And we're going to find out what the differences are. So again, I'm going to select all the clips that I have. And this time I'm going to right click again and bounce selection or Control B or under events, bounce selection. There's also bounce to new track, which we're going to look at a bit later on. So if I click bounce selection, it looks like it did a very similar thing to merge, except there's one big difference. And we're going to find out when we actually click the edit and open up the edit window. Here we're going to see how in edit, it's also merged them all as into one clip. So now we have merged or rendered all the clips into one clip. Now, one difference I should actually make a note here, the difference between bounce and render, which is an option available in the professional version of Studio One, and we are looking at Studio One Prime here, which is not available in this version, is that bounce only bounces or renders the audio clips together, where in render, which is available in Studio One Pro, also renders any insert effects you had on the channel, where bounce doesn't. It basically just joins all the audio clips together. That's what we are seeing here. As you can see, now I have one clip. So if I adjust the gain, all the gain of the clips adjust together. And if I move, they all move together. So that is the difference between merge and bounce. Merge gives you more flexibility, so you still have access to the initial original clips, where in bounce you don't. So let's have a look, bounce to new track. Here is an extra tip. If you're wondering how between the video clips here, I'm actually going back to the original clip, is I'm using the history. Under edit, we can undo moves, and we need to click Control Z or select undo events until we go back to right to the beginning, or we can go to history, and here from the history we can see all of the actions that we've done since, and we can actually move back and all the way to the right beginning, bounce selection. So now I'm back to where I was. So let's look at bouncing to a new track. Again, gonna select all of those clips, right click, event, and bounce to a new track. So now it created a new track right at the bottom here. It bounced them into a new track, and at the same time muted the original tracks. Now, bouncing a new track, you might notice that the waveforms are much less than the original ones, because bouncing new tracks affects any levels as well you have on your channel. You might have noticed when it was bouncing to a new track, if it was quick enough, you should have been able to see how it actually soloed the track and then played each clip and recorded it into a new track. And that's what bouncing to a new track does. So if your fader level is at different level and it's not on 0 dB, then that will affect it. And that's why you have the volumes less. And any inserts you had on your channel will also be applied and had the effect. But you still have the original muted on the original track. So let's do that again. Right there. Let's have a look at our mixer. In my mixer, as you can see, my fader is quite down, and I do have channel strip, which is removing some of the lows for that track, and it's compressing and expanding it as well. I have a high pass. So there's quite a bit happening on this track. So all of that will be affected when we add a new track. So right click again, just so that we can actually get a change. I'm just going to put that into 0 dB. Bounce to new track. Left how it was soloing it. And now we can see the levels are much higher than in our first example, because I left the fader at 0 dB. Let's try that again, but this time let's bring the fader all the way down. just so that you can actually see and prove yourself what is actually happening. Bounce to, and as you can see this time, the track is way low because I put the fader way down. So if we increase the view, so that's still there, but low in volume because I put the fader down to minus 35 dB. So that's what the difference are. When you click bounce, it bounces without affecting any of the channel effects, including fader, pan, or any inserts on that channel. But when you do bounce to new track, all of those effects, your channel fader as well as your inserts, are also applied and rendered into a new track, and then originals are muted. Well, that's it for today. I should also thank Goran for his kind donation, which allowed me to make this video as well, so that not only himself now knows what the differences are between merge and bounce to new track, also everybody else who is actually watching this video. Thank you again, Goran, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music. Cheerio, guys.